How would you view the draft class going in overall? What do you think the thumbnail is on this one, Mike?
I think it's exciting, especially if you need defensive talent. I think the edge rushers, the corners, and the safeties are as good a group as we've seen in years, both quality at the top and depth throughout. I think on the offensive side of the ball, the tight ends are outstanding. The running backs are outstanding. The wide receivers are good. The caveat is the offensive tackle class might be one of the leanest I've ever seen. And I think the quarterback class has a ton of questions. There's some talent, but I think there are a whole lot more questions than answers with the quarterbacks.
So if you've got a top 10 pick and you're quarterback needy, or you need to protect the quarterback that you have, this is the wrong draft to have a top 10 pick, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I got peppered yesterday, on that conference call I do about the Cleveland Browns, and they've got 1-12. And somebody asked me what would be, if you were a Cleveland Browns GM, what would be your dream scenario? And my response was I would take either Myles Garrett or Jonathan Allen at 1. And then in a dream scenario, I would trade 12 to New England for Garoppolo. And after 12 picks in that draft, I'd be feeling pretty good about the direction of my franchise. So I think there's more interest out there, which is atypical, Rich. I think there's some interest out there. And what about Garoppolo? What about Romo? What's going to happen to Tyrod Taylor? How much love is out there for A.J. McCarron? Cutler has got about a $12.5 million cap number attached to him. Where could he end up? And that's not even factoring in Kaepernick, RG3, Kirk Cousins. And the one name that's been under the radar that is going to be a free agent this year that I think should attract more attention than I'm hearing is Mike Glennon from Tampa Bay. So the irony, Rich, is I think there's just as much interest in that other quarterback market this year as there is in the draftable quarterback market.
Now, I assume Belichick would be all over getting the 12th overall selection in this draft for Garoppolo. He would if the Browns call him up and say that. What do you think?
I don't know, and I throw that out there with, somebody patched and pasted some of my statements together and basically said, "Oh, Mayock said the Patriots have to take O.J. Howard and trade Garoppolo." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't say that." But at the end of the day, I think what it really comes down to is how strongly Bill Belichick and the Patriots feel about Jacoby Brissett. I think that's really your answer. They took him in the third round. They got a quick look at him last year. If they feel like from everything they saw in the building and on the practice field, he could be a replacement for Tom Brady 2 or 3 years down the road, then I think they'd love to get a significant draft pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. But if that's not the case, if they're worried about whether or not Brissett can play, then I think you got to think about whether or not you want to try to re-sign him and whether he would be signable, knowing he'd still be a backup.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.